On to another new film that's coming out this week.
Yeah. Okay. So now, Freakier Friday, and you have to try and keep up with this. So this is the sequel to 2003's Freaky Friday, in which Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan were mother and daughter who found themselves body swapped. That film was based on a 1972 novel by Mary Rodgers that was first filmed in 1976 with Jodie Foster and Barbara Harris as what was the tagline? A daughter and mother become each other. I think that was the original tagline. And then that was then followed in 1984 by the gender-swapped Summer Switch, which is father and son. And then in the same year, there was a thing which I know nothing about other than the title, which is A Billion for Boris, a.k.a. Billions for Boris, which was not a film about a former prime minister, but was part of that series, although I'm not entirely sure how. So technically, fifth series installment, first sequel to the first remake. Have you kept up with that?
Yes.
Just about. Good. Okay. So this is directed by Nish Ganatra, whose directing credits include Late Night, which was the one with Emma Thompson as the late night TV host, and that was with Mindy Kaling. There'll be more Emma Thompson in Take Two, incidentally, because we're doing Sense and Sensibility. She also made, The High Note, which I wasn't crazy about, with Dakota Johnson, who is in Materialist. So the screenplay for Freaky Friday is Jordan Weiss, who created the Hulu series Dollface. Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan reprising their roles as Tess and Anna. Anna is now a mum. Julie Butters is her daughter Harper. Harper is at school with an annoying arrival, Lily, Sophie Hammonds, who she considers to be the chemistry classmate from hell. After a particularly unruly chemistry class, they're called in to see the principal, and their respective single parents are called in, and immediately sparks fly. So this now leads to a situation in which they may end up being stepsisters, which they don't want to happen. Wedding bells are in the air until an encounter with a fortune teller. Again, you're keeping up. Fortune teller, Vanessa Bayer, who's fantastic, switches mum and daughter, Anna and more confusingly, friend and grandmother-to-be. Here's a clip.
What is happening? It's me, Harper. It's Mom. What are you saying? So if you're me and I'm you, then who is that? I'm Grandma, sweetheart. Oh my gosh, I've died. I killed myself!
She just has crevices all over her face. Look at the crevices!
My hands look like doll hands.
Oh, my butt feels so high.
I think I just peed a little.
Oh.
So, I'm sorry, if you're not watching visuals with that and you haven't seen them, believe me, I just tried to do the plot setup, but it's quite complicated. So if it didn't make any sense, it's not just you. Here's what you need to know. I went into this with super low expectations. Not sure why, but I just thought, oh, okay, another legacy reboot. Do we really, really need to? I was sort of thinking this is going to be Naked Gun all over again. This has its flaws, not least the fact that the setup of the original is very simple. It's mother-daughter, daughter-mother become each other. This, because it's a four-way thing, I did find myself quite a lot of the time in the film thinking, hang on, sorry, who's in whose body? But once the gags start coming thick and fast, Jamie Lee Curtis is really good as the body-swapped, the grandmother who then becomes a stroppy teenager who is in and is shocked by the grandmother's body. Lindsay Lohan, who I last saw in Paul Schrader's terrible grown-up film, The Canyons, kind of reminded me why it was that we all liked Lindsay Lohan the first time round when she was doing Parent Trap and Freaky Friday. There are loads and loads of age gap gags about phones and schools and boomers and pickleball, and there's a particularly funny joke about when the youngies as the oldies find Facebook, and one of them says, "What's that?" And he says, "Facebook. It's brilliant. It's like a database of old people," which is a very funny gag. And I realised about half an hour into it that I had laughed many more times than I laughed in Naked Gun. Well, I laughed once in Naked Gun, but I was laughing at a lot of the gags. And what's even more surprising is that as we moved into the third act, because obviously the whole thing has to find a kind of, there has to be a resolution. Everyone has to discover life truths, because the whole point of the Freaky Friday body swap thing is you need to realize and learn life lessons, and then things will go back to right again. As we move towards the third act, I teared up a little bit. And then as we got fully into the third act, I found myself actually crying. And so I laughed a lot, and then I cried. And then at the end of the film, there's an outtakes thing, and generally funny outtakes tend to mean that the film itself wasn't funny. So they'll just show you a bunch of outtakes to make up for the gags that you haven't had. But even the outtakes were funny. And it's PG for mild bad language. At no point did it feel like it was having to pull its punches to get a PG certificate. And this is incidentally a film which has got a joke, well, you heard in the trailer, jokes about adult incontinence pants and enemas, but all delivered in a completely PG-friendly way that doesn't feel out of place. So it was like a similar experience to the most recent Karate Kid film. I came out of it thinking I really enjoyed that, and nobody was more surprised about it than I was.